Mark, the sales in Toronto are reflecting the same thing here. Horrifying March.
Yeah, it's felt around Ontario, right? Because there's uncertainty. We're seeing a lot of listings rapidly coming up. We've seen inventory really kind of go up in March quite a bit. And now we're leading into April. I think there was 78 listings in Barrie and Simcoe County on the ones that I follow in areas. And that was yesterday. That's huge. And me and you both can pick out the ones that will sell fairly fast just due to because they're priced for the market. And even in that article that we read before, those agents experiencing the same thing. Pricing is wrong. Yeah,
Yeah.
pricing is wrong.
So,
They get fixed.
yeah, and first of all, you're with Mark and Diane from Real Estate News and Views. I found an article, and a lot of times, the reason why I wanted to talk about this, do you remember last year we did a couple videos where it was like what happened in the Toronto market? We didn't see it happen to us for another month or two. Like there was a delay. If it was booming there, we didn't see the boom here. It would take a couple months kind of to see the trickle.
Mhm.
Right now, they're doing almost exactly what we're doing. Like I think it's an Ontario-wide thing. Is it safe to say that?
Probably. Well, the bigger markets in Ontario, let's leave it at that level because some of the smaller markets, like up north, they're not as impacted by this, I think, than other people. North Bay, for example, has a tight market right now. Appreciation's up over last year. Wow, not here. So, in the bigger markets, Central Ontario, GTA markets, yeah, we're feeling it, and I think we're going to continue to feel something change. Uncertainty is in the air. People are taking a bit longer to make some decisions. So when we look at the total product on the board in Barrie, as of yesterday, I think it was a little over 871 or 885. That's a lot. So we're seeing more listings every day and less sales consistently. So inventory is still climbing. And am I seeing some better pricing? Yeah, I am a little bit, but it's not fixing the problem yet because the other 80% of the inventory is just not doing anything. So,
Well, and I think the other thing is like you and I both have buyers who are watching, the market and the ones that are sitting, like they're not even looking at them anymore. They're kind of looking at just what's coming up because they've already perused the ones that are there. So they're more focused on the new listings kind of, right?
Oh, they are. They're focused on the new product coming out.
Yeah.
And, I took some buyers out yesterday, and one was priced right. 41 McAvoy was priced right. 59 Silver Trail. I'd struggle to give them 850. Like it's just terrible inside. I love the neighborhood, love the backyard, but I can't buy. No one's going to buy a property for that, and it's priced at $1 million. So I don't think this market's going to move, Diane, until we start to see sellers understanding the market more. And I hate to say it, but a lot of agents are, oh, we can't ruffle the feathers with our clients. They think it's worth this. You're the professional. Tell them what the property's worth.
Yeah.
Not
If they
just
don't want to listen, then you don't
around.
deal with them, right?
So right. So how many buyers are sitting on the sidelines waiting for the right inventory to come up at the right price? And not saying, and I keep saying, I'm not saying give your property away, but we have to be properly priced for the market today that we're in. And now we put these tariffs into play and more uncertainty, more job losses, more this. Whoa, I don't know.
Well, yeah, this is I want to share the article because it kind of really reiterates kind of what we're saying.
Please
So
go.
that
Let me just jump here for 1 sec, Dan. So anyone who likes this information, which I hope you all do, hit the subscribe button. It's pretty important for our channels. And leave a comment. And in the top part of the descriptions, we have some landing pages that can help you get a free home evaluation, an honest home evaluation, not a made up one or one you want to hear in a sense, one that's accurate. And if there's buyers out there that want to get more information on properties in Barrie and price points, click the links. Okay, go.
so Toronto area real estate sales the worst on record for March as buyers ride out Trump uncertainty. So the sales plummeted 23% year over year,
Mhm.
with just 5,011 transactions in all housing types, while listings skyrocketed by almost 29% to more than 17,000. So exactly what we're seeing here.
Hey, so go back. So why don't you show the viewer what's happening in Barrie for March? Because it's almost exact the same thing. I think it's important to show them. So there we go. We're 28%. Listings are up 34%,
Yep.
right? It's quite a bit. If you want
Yep.
to take it even further, you can even show them how much inventory over the last 8 years. We've had the most inventory over the last 8 years in this market currently.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yep. Hold
Huge.
on. There it is. So this is for Barrie over the last 8 years.
Right to what, 2017, I believe?
Yeah.
Right. So go through the numbers and show in March where we got 771 actives. Last year, same time, we had 510.
2023, 363, 2022, 278.
Right, right. And even go right back,
Well, we've never been close. The closest we've ever been is
is
in 2018, 511, but we're at 771.
right. And
And
then
we know now, we just checked it yesterday, we're over way into the eights.
we're 885. I believe it was 885 or 835, one or the other.
Yeah.
We can go back, we can go back into the board and show them, but we might as well, since we're there. But look at the months where the inventory starts really picking up steam. April, May, June, July, August. Look at September, and then we're back into a fall market.
Yeah. September, there's always, historically, you see most of the time there's a little bump there too. They go
Right,
up.
right. So, you know, we haven't seen the worst of it, but I don't want to tell the viewers that it's all negative. It's just we've been in such an overpriced market, and it is a market where I really believe right now buyers are not going in trying even to think about putting offers on properties overpriced. They get missed altogether, Diane.
Yes.
Mark, what do you think it's worth? Well, it's about 150K overpriced. Okay, we'll forget about this one. That's what they say.
Yeah, I know. They don't even go.
I can't negotiate that.
So listen, what they're saying in GTA, home sales were lowest on record for a March in at least the last 23 years.
Yeah, it's huge.
That's huge.
Right.
And of course, many experts were hoping there would be a comeback for real estate this year because, of course, we know the last 2 years were not great.
And
So, even the fact that the last 2 years weren't great, were even worse.
worse.
So, yeah, they say the current uncertainty with U.S. President Donald Trump's tariff war and the upcoming federal election in Canada has buyers in a wait and see approach, according to the TREB March report.
For sure. For sure. They're going to wait and see what happens. And you can imagine, we did a video a couple of days ago about, the manufacturing jobs. There's 100,000 automotive, no, manufacturing jobs in Ontario that are related to the automotive industry. 144,000, Diane, that are indirect related to that industry. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of jobs.
Well, it's funny you say that because the TREB, which is the Toronto Real Estate Board Chief Information Officer Jason Mercer, home buyers need to feel their employment situation is solid
Do.
before committed to monthly mortgage payments over the long term.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we're not making this stuff up.
No.
We've been saying it for such a long time that, maybe people should start listening,
Yeah.
right?
Well, and they're saying that with the ratio to sales to lists, we're basically in a buyer's market, meaning buyers have more negotiating power and choice.
I question that. Go back to that for a sec before we go,
Mhm.
because not that as a true market, that would be a fair statement. But what we've experienced over the last 2 years is an inflated market, and sellers are sticking to their guns. So that comes to the point where the buyers are just going, you know what, we're moving on. Mark, it's been listed for 4 months. There's 135 listings from a million to 1.5. Like, don't these people know that? I don't know. The buyers thinking they should have some more control of the market or more, willing to negotiate. You and I both know. I get, well, put it on paper. Sorry, I'm not putting nothing on paper. We'll move on because I know it's a waste of time.
No,
Unless
well, I
I
know, and there's a
do
lot
that,
that
I will.
I've seen that with clients or whatever that are overpriced, but they've been there for like almost a year at that price.
Happens.
So how much negotiating room is there if they've left the price the same for 1 year
None. Very little.
or
They're
very little?
they're testing the market. This is
Yeah.
not test the market approach right
Well,
now.
listen to this
That
comment.
was in COVID.
I want to know if you agree with this comment. Even though sales are taking a nosedive, home ownership in the GTA has become more affordable compared to the previous year due to interest rate cuts and easing prices, the report said, making monthly mortgage payments more manageable.
Yeah, the rates have come down, as we know. The bond yields are crazy today. The fixed rates are going back up. But yeah, I think it has made the home buyer more affordable. But it also comes hand in hand as if that seller is in negotiations mode in a sense, right?
Yeah.
Buyers got some more affordability. They're solid with their jobs, but if you have a seller sticking to the guns, that does nothing. And how many times have we often gone to look at boards and we've gone to show the listings that have been selling quickly because they're
Yeah.
priced for the market. Yeah, I went to one yesterday. What do you think about the price, Mark? Price is good. Price is good.
Yeah.
Not overpriced. Price is good. They
Yeah.
priced this properly for the market today. And they're not giving it away. They just
No.
priced it properly. But
No.
many agents are not doing that today. And that's a concern.
Well, and the other thing they say here, even as home ownership costs ease, consumer confidence will continue to take a hit
Oh,
as all aspects of the real estate industry are impacted. So, that's what I find. And um, I was talking to the owner of our brokerage the other day, and so much in real estate relies on consumer confidence. It's huge.
for
And
sure.
right now, it's not there.
It's not there. It's not there. There's crazy times. The US dollar has dropped almost 5 or 6 cents in the last week and a half, trading at $1.38. 2 weeks ago, that was a buck 44. Hmm. So read an article about that. Investors are kind of getting done with the United States. They're going elsewhere. So we really don't know how all of this is going to play out. We don't,
No,
you know. Trump's trying to make a deal every day. Oh, today markets are green. Oh, thinks China will make a deal. No, they won't. I want to hear that from China. This guy's a liar. He's just saying that, right?
I
So
know.
it's just all this plays on everything, and that's a concern. That's a big, big concern right now for a lot of people. Anyone says, if any real estate says, "Oh, I'm really, really busy today," maybe today, but saying I've been busy all year, I doubt it. I really.
No, and the thing too that I've noticed is that due to the fact that everything is kind of up in the air and every day is like a new challenge. Like you don't know what's happening even from day to day. Forget about in a month or 3 months.
I believe, yes, I believe if things are going on what they are right now, and they had CPI, PPI last 2 days, good numbers for inflation, great. Economy's doing well, some positive earnings coming out of the financial markets today with the banks and stuff like that. It's all positive. But that was for the first quarter. We're not talking April yet.
I
April's when
know.
it's what happens April, May, and June? What's the next quarter going to do? That's a concern. And I think that's going to weigh on sentiment even more. And then what happens if these big companies start talking about, hey, we got to readjust our margins, or, in taking the fact that the tariffs have really made the numbers skewy now, and we're not making as much profit. And sales are down. Oh God, there's more downturn coming in. So if this
Well,
doesn't get corrected soon, those are gonna spill over to the May prints. It's coming.
another thing I want to clarify, when one of our last videos we did, we heard that the tariffs had been paused right during the video.
Mhm.
And we thought or we were hoping that meant Canada too. But we found out later, once, because at first it was just all over. Tariffs
Right.
have been paused, tariffs have been paused.
Yeah.
Nobody clarified. Nobody even knew because I was watching CNN and they didn't even know what exactly had been paused. So Canada and Mexico have not been paused.
No. No.
No.
It's only the new tariffs that he's put on across hundreds of countries, 10% across the board. Those have been paused for 90 days. China's retaliated back today with, okay, we're going to 125 now. China thinks the American market in China, their products aren't marketable anymore because they're too expensive. That's not going to show up until next quarter's earnings for these companies,
Yeah.
right? So, and that's going to put even more fear. So I think every day that goes on, you got sentiment. This is spilling over the real estate market. We're seeing it now, in a
Yes.
sense. We're seeing it. People are scared,
Yeah,
and
they are.
they should be scared. They should be really, you know, getting a lot of information before making decisions.
Well, and if you're in, how many people, not only in the manufacturing um systems or whatever you want to call it in Ontario, but how many people work from home now with American-based companies?
I'm sure there's lots.
There's lots because I have clients that do that.
Right? So, are we going to see more job? We don't know. This is all too early right now. But you think those people are out looking at new homes today? Are they going to selling? Not right now. They're not.
No,
You know,
that's the thing. That's the thing with everything being up in the air and you don't even know how your company is going to handle that or handle it. Um, you can't make a big life decision like buying a house.
I think if their employment's solid, keep in mind this isn't impacting everybody.
No, if you're a teacher, if you're a nurse, if you're a
Yeah.
cop,
Right.
if you're in any kind of social services or you're a doctor or lawyer, you're fine.
Right. But a lot of people that are affected by this, yeah, there's some times to really make some solid decisions, and if this is the best move to make a buy and sell right now, right? I don't know,
Well,
right?
real estate is such a huge, like, think of electricians, plumbers, builders, um, drywallers, suppliers, hardware stores, Home Depot, like in that mortgage agents, like around real estate, there's a huge amount of business that is not just the business of buying and selling the house.
No, there's a lot of other indirect industries that come into play with this, and more spin-offs for sure.
And there's lots.
There's lots, and I keep saying it too, is that nothing's going to change until the election's done at the end of the month. But they should make it easier for homeowners to get into the market. Why do we need this? Why do we need this?
Stress test.
Yeah, why do we need that? Why do we need people to qualify 2% more? Why? That's a barrier for home ownership.
I think there should be some kind of thing where if it goes down below 3%, the stress test is enacted. If it's above a certain amount, it doesn't need to be there.
Something. So that's been playing on things for a while. We thought, what they're going to go. I believe it's important in a low rate climate and things are flying off the shelves, but nothing's flying off the shelf. I'm not
Well,
saying
and maybe, Mark, if you have over 20% down, you don't need the stress test. Maybe
if
if
it's
you're
30,
in a
40%,
high ratio, you do.
because that 2% means a lot. So, there's lots of new things coming at people. We have an election, say, in a couple of weeks here. People want to see the outcome of that before making this. There's so many nuts and bolts to this process right now of buying a home and selling a home today, right?
And
But on the flip side,
unfortunately,
there's still good. There's still buyers looking. So people, price it properly. Price that property for the market. Don't go, you know what? They want to negotiate, so let's just mark it up 100 grand. You're not getting visits. You're just not going to happen.
no,
Price
there's too much to choose from.
of inventory. We went through the inventory where it is. We've seen, I think, what in the higher end range. What did we see for sales in that range?
Two, hold on.
let's go. This we're on the topic. Let's show it. And I'll get my calculator out here to show the math. It's alarming.
In the city of Barrie. I need my glasses now. Hold on. I can kind of see the numbers, but
I'll
not
speak.
the.
Get me there, and I've got mine on.
There we
So,
go.
we when we look, so these are for March. So let's just go to the bottom because it's 143 listed. It's priced over a million and above. And folks, we're not seeing a lot of $2 million properties in Barrie. That million, we're seeing, 1.3, 1.4, 1.5 maybe, the
Yeah,
odd one in the wall. So excuse the numbers. But when I go 12 divided by the 143, that's 8% is selling.
I know.
Be competitive. 92% isn't. And it kind of gets better up here, but look at the inventory even in the lower price ranges.
Well, this 7 to 800 freaks me out every time I look at it because we're at 115 in that range. And even 6 to 7, 91. That's a lot of listings in
A
that
lot of
lower
inventory,
range.
a lot of supply. And people
Yeah.
ask me the question all the time, well, Mark, isn't the market, if there's a lot of supply, we get some better pricing? That's how the market should work. But for the last 2 years, it's not working that way. Sellers are not reducing their prices. They're
No, they're
not.
not.
And buyers aren't willing to pay those inflated prices anymore. So when
No,
a property does come on the market, Diane, priced for today's market, it sells well and it's
I
going to
know.
continue to sell decently. It may take a little bit longer now. People go, you know what? We need to think the weekend or we need a couple of days to let this absorb and think, yeah, for sure. But it's going to sell well. We'll continually get viewings. So have confidence in that. But if you're overinflated your price, you're not selling. We got lots of proof to show you. Let's be
Yeah.
honest. We got all kinds. We got 10 million videos on our channel. Go back and we always talk about it, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
so
and in this kind of uncertainty, I mean, it makes sense that the property has to look attractive, meaning the price and the state of the property, because you're being compared against a lot of other houses.
sure you are. Sure you are.
And if you don't look at in the top 10 in your price range, I'm not even going to go see it.
My client's first comment when we walked into that second property yesterday was going, holy cow, for 100 grand more, I'd rather go after the first one. Look what we got. Right away, they're already started comparing
Exactly.
instantly. What's
Instantly, of
wrong?
course.
It needs a kitchen. It needs flooring. Entrance is small. The only good thing was the backyard. They're right. We didn't even go the downstairs, right?
Yeah.
So,
That's what I mean. Like when people are going, and I always tell my clients, my sellers, and I find this helps a little bit because I was a buying agent, right? Before uh when I first kind of started out, I joined that team, remember? And I was a buying agent at the beginning. And I always tell my sellers, pretend you're a buyer. Walk into your house and pretend you're a buyer, and what would you think? And be honest with yourself.
you
You
have to.
know? You
Oh,
have to be. Because if I was going to go walk in to the two houses you walked into yesterday, it's like a no-brainer. There's not even a question.
congratulations to the sellers. They priced it properly. The home showed extremely well. They were prepared. All the lights were on ready for us to go. It flowed well. They decluttered it. They staged it well. It showed perfect. I couldn't find one thing really wrong with it in a sense what they could have did better, to be honest. They
Oh,
even
I
had the
looked at the
pool.
pictures of it and it looked beautiful. I told you that.
Yeah, but sometimes they look beautiful and you go there, it's a disappointment, right? So the pictures, exactly showed the property off and it was exactly the way what we
Well, they
expected.
did coffered ceilings and a lot of things that I'm just plugging in my computer. A lot of things that houses in that subdivision don't have.
No, the right upgrades, the right paint colors, great room sizes, good placement of furniture. It just goes on and on and on and on. Great kitchen overlooking the family room. Like I was very impressed. And that's what you got to be. That's what you're being judged on. You're inviting buyers to come to your home. Better show well. You
Well,
better walk every room like you just said. Put yourself in a buyer, start the front door, and what does it need? No, start on the sidewalk. What are
yeah,
we talking here?
that's right.
Well, the garage doors need to be painted, then paint them.
Yeah,
It's kind of cold now, then wait to paint them. But do that job later on. But then it needs to be done before you list.
yeah.
The lawn needs to be raked.
Hmm.
Maybe put some flowers. Maybe you need some shrubs. Maybe you need some patio furniture. Something. Make the curb appeal start from the driveway and work your way through the home, room by room.
Yeah.
You do
Pretend
that.
you're, because when you look at it not as a seller, but as a buyer,
Yeah, that's what they're looking at.
that's exactly how they're looking at it. And if you go online on Realtor and you look in your price range and you see these other houses, you
Yeah,
think, wow, like when
right.
they're walking into mine, they're not seeing that. Like that's way better than
Yeah,
mine.
I agree. Or even take it a step further, maybe. Look, go for some showings. Go a couple showings with the agent.
Yeah,
Hey, let's go look at this property because we're very similar. So I want to see what they've done.
yeah.
Why not? Steal some ideas. Look at the presentation.
Hmm.
Go book yourself a bad one.
Yeah,
Do both.
yeah.
How educational would that be for a home seller today? Pretty
Oh, for
edu
sure.
pretty
Even
edu
if you don't want to bother people, because sometimes I, especially, I don't like to be too nosy and book a showing for no reason, but I'll hit open houses.
Yeah, but I'd book it if my client asked me to go, hey Mark, we want to go to this address because we're very similar and it's listed now. We want to see why maybe
How do
they're
we compare? Yeah.
there or why are they listed 100 grand more than you said. Let's go have a look.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's not going to hurt. It takes 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
start judging when you walk in the front, when you're on the sidewalk getting out of the car. I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Right? How
Well,
we
that's what a buyer's going to do.
they
And a
are.
buyer is going to see, like, I'm horrible when I do showings because I see every problem. Like, I look, oh, like, look at that. And oh, look at that.
For
Be-
critics.
I'm a
Right.
critic
Yeah.
because, I mean, I'm looking out for my buyer.
Yeah.
So if I see something wrong or I see, well, look at there's watermarks down in the basement along the trim, and I want to point those things out because I want them to be happy with the purchase.
100%.
So when there's problems, like I'm gonna point it out.
Yeah. I agree. And we
Or
should.
and when I go into one that's really good, just like you did yesterday.
Yeah,
It's
because
great.
stayed long. We went
It's
back and
great. No, no, I mean the good one. You walk in, you like this is great. Like
we were there probably 35 minutes.
hmm
Let's go back and look at the family room one more time. Okay.
hmm
Go back downstairs. The size going to work. We can use this room to work. Okay. So, you know what? And everything was prop, even the backyard, the pool was opened up. But why do you think they did that, Mark? Well, I know why. Because they want to show it to you.
so you could see it.
Right. Smart idea. No one's swimming.
Mhm.
Pool's open. You can see the liner. You can envision yourself and your family enjoying it. Oh, they also got a fire pit. Oh, I've always wanted one. They did a great job. They took a lot of time to prep that house. I'll tell you that much. But it's going to pay off.
Yeah,
Well done. And I don't say that easily, but I'm going to say for that one, it was well done. How are we
perfect.
for time?
We're perfect right on the nose right now.
All right. So why don't we wrap it up there and have a great weekend.
You too.
See you.
Bye.